After Riot reworked Breeze, the map went from one of the most attacker-sided maps to becoming an extremely defender-sided map. When we look at the data from runitback.gg, Breeze is the second most defender-sided map in organized play just behind Ascent at 51.41% win rate on the defense. We can also look at rank data here, where this is from blitz.gg. This is data from the most recent act at the Radiant rank, where Breeze is the third most defensive-sided map in the map pool. And so we're going to look at how the pros are approaching the defense and how that relates to the changes that Riot made to the map. And then from there, we can kind of figure out how we can maximize the number of rounds that we're getting when we play Breeze. We'll talk about the B site first. I'm sure many of us have experienced the unbreakable trip that Cypher can put down on the B main choke point, and it demands some sort of util usage to clear it. Because of that, it serves as an early warning sign to defenders that a hit might be coming. And so in this game between Oxygen and Moist Shopify, we see that Moist Shopify used an early shock dart to break the trip, and Dapper recognizes that a B hit might be on its way, so he's already getting off of site. We can see here that he started Pillar, he's shifting his way over towards half wall, and he's eventually just going to group up with his team Arch to play the retake. And so we see here, he makes his way out and gets out safely. The B site is also fairly easy to retake if everybody scales correctly. And we're going to look at how Oxygen retakes the B side of the map because everybody's pathing is very deliberate. And so what we'll notice is as they go for this retake, they have two people scaling back site and they'll have one person scaling towards Cubby. So I'll pause it right here and we can already see on the minimap that Dapper and Verno are back site while Scuba is making his way from Pillar towards Cubby. The reason this is such a powerful retake is because the Cubby angle puts the person that's playing ladder into a crossfire. And so what we'll see here is that Scuba gets to Cubby and basically pins Thief to ladder so that his teammates that are backside can scale up and just kill him right there. We can see in this second example that Oxygen is doing the same uh, deliberate pathing when they do their B retake. And so if we zoom in, we can see that in this instance, Dapper is the one playing Cubby, while Redux and Scuba are going to be the ones retaking from backside. And so Vic kind of realizes that he's about to get pushed from by two different people and caught in a crossfire. So he tries to get out, and Thief throws a really smart cove here to help him get out. But Dapper is already at the angle and prevents Vic from exiting the site. The strength of this retake comes from the addition of this mid-site wall that the Valorant devs added when they reworked Breeze. Previously, if you tried to scale Cubby, you would be exposed to an angle from backside. You would be exposed to pillar and you'd be exposed to ladder. With the addition of this mid-site wall, now your teammates that are scaling backside only have to worry about backside and lane, while you only have to worry about ladder and pillar. The changes to Breeze have also made defending mid a lot easier. So attackers now, if they want to go through mid, they have to come through this choke point here. And because of that, a lot of pro teams are using a Viper wall to cover the choke. So in this instance, we see Flya using this wall. I know Oxygen likes to use a wall from A that covers both the jump up and the lower choke point. And then Fnatic, I've seen use a wall that lets them play retake A, but also covers off mid just in case they need it to cover mid. So those are just a few examples of teams using the Viper wall for mid now. So the reason this wall is so strong, we can see in this clip, Oxygen is going to try to force their way through this Viper wall, and Mata just absolutely destroys them And if you saw at the end right there, Vic and Fly were also supporting with this KO grenade and then a Viper Molly as well. Finally, we get to the A side of the map, and it is so common for defenders to get a bunch of free chip damage or util damage on people coming out of A main. And so if you're attacking on this map, I highly recommend not trying to force your way through A main. In this clip, we're going to see DRX try to force their way through A main to get a plant. And on their way out, they're going to get mollied by Boaster and spammed down by Leo here. And then finally, when they make it to the site to get a plant down, they just get nuked by Leo's shock dart. So not only is it really easy to harass attackers with util as they try to plant, it's also really easy to retake the site. And so we see in this clip, Fnatic is just going to play hard retake. DRX commits two very powerful ults, the KO ult and the Harbor ult, to get into site. And Fnatic isn't worried. They're just going to go for a full-on retake. And so I'll skip forward here. We see DRX is going to try to send one person through mid for an additional angle on the spike, while everybody else tries to play A main. And unfortunately, their mid player gets caught right here. And so once they get to defending it from A main, it's just so easy for Fnatic to counter spam them and stay on the defuse, because they only have one angle to defend the spike from. Attackers used to have a massive advantage once they got the spike down on A, because they had multiple angles to work with to prevent the spike from being diffused. They could play up close on A main, but they also had this headshot angle on the spike that they could ping the spike and pre-fire this. Or they could just jump spot from up here and peek. But now there's this massive wall preventing that from happening, so now defenders only have to worry about one angle when retaking. On top of that, if defenders took too long on the retake, an attacker could relure calls and shoot them in the back as they scaled site, or kill their Sova player and prevent them from droning and darting. So retaking has become a lot easier after the removal of halls and the changes to cave.